entrepreneurs, welcome back to another video. Or if you're listening to this on the podcast, welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are going to talk all about networking, especially online, because even though we are introverts, we still need to be seen and heard. And networking online is actually a very first step to doing so. So I'm going to share with you guys three networking tips that you can implement in your networking practices. And also, I want to discuss with you guys first why it's important for you to network. I'm not sure if you guys have seen my video when I was talking about this topic before, but there is a triangle of connections in which the strongest connection that you can form with people is in person. That's why I always encourage you, wherever you live, to look out local meetups and events so you can actually meet people face to face, and then they are able to experience you in person and build that connection and trust with you to then work together with you or hire you or buy from you. So that is super important to do. But if you cannot, for some reason, find your gang or community or the people that you want to kind of get to know better and find opportunities, well, your second best option is to network online. And when we hear and see people speak online, even if it's in Zoom, we already are able to connect with them better than if we are seeing some posts from them, or even if it's like a one-sided video, like I'm talking to you guys, or a podcast episode that you can listen to me. It's a completely different experience to be talking directly, even if it's an online connection, to someone versus to just be like a one-sided listener. And if you guys are out there, and I'm sure most of you require some kind of putting yourself out there in your businesses, you cannot unfortunately skip online networking. It's an awesome way to kind of build connection, to hear someone else speak or to have interactions with them, because those connections, when they are actually starting to follow you and to get exposed to what you do and you sharing about your work, they are much more likely to come to you when whatever they have issues with and you solve becomes an issue for them. Or if they know someone who might actually need what you are providing and helping with, then it's just becomes, you become basically the first person that they can turn to, and people start advocating for you. So that's why it's very important for you to put yourself out there and overcome your fear of a completely unknown environment and common network. So my very first online networking tip is actually to seek out networking communities, and seek out communities where you can actually show up as yourself with whatever that you're doing, and you're able to express that to people. So we also have our virtual hangouts, which we do every single month. Actually, the next one is in this upcoming week, Thursday. But I'm always sending out emails to all of our group members and promoting it inside of our group so that everyone is aware that we are doing them. But the cool thing about our virtual hangouts is that we don't really have a lot of agenda. We always just show up and have a discussion as INFJs in business. And we just like to share like what's going on for us. And even though our community is still growing and we're still growing, but it's a cool way for you to kind of dip your toes into these online networking communities, because it's not like a threatening environment where there are 50 people online and you don't even get to speak, right? So I would always say that look out smaller networking groups or even events, if there are, that you can go to, and then you can actually like show up and have a chance to speak and express yourself. Because if you are going to like a major online networking event, for example, then you just see all the people with their Zoom and like none of them can actually speak up, and it's almost like you guys are sitting in the movie theater and you are next to each other, but you can never actually interact because maybe you're listening to a speaker, or maybe it's just there's so many of you that you don't even have a chance to really open up about yourself and to really form those connections. So My first step will be to seek out your community and seek out communities that are supporting the type of person that you are. Either it's an interest based, like if you are in a certain type of industry, or you can seek out other communities that you have a commonality on and just show up for that. And my second tip would be is to show up for those communities consistently. I'm not saying to completely overwhelm yourself, but what I'm saying is you need to kind of show up for these communities in a way that is consistent, and it's not just you comment once and they never see you again, because then not only if you are able to express yourself and you are an interesting person to the community, but they are like, okay, that this person came once and never came again, right? So it becomes like this, okay, maybe it was something completely transactional for you, not really to build connections and trust and get to know others and other business owners, for example. But it was just like, hey, I'm just gonna show up, see if this worth my time, and I'm gonna just jump off. So instead, find a community where you can show up consistently, and again, according to your schedule and your time. Just make sure that it's not just a one-off thing that you go. Obviously, if the community that you found for yourself is completely off with your values, you just comment once and you never go again. But if it's something that you could see yourself, build connections with people, sometimes it's just better to keep going until you really find and connect with the people that are potentially an opportunity for you, or even just to have friends who are also in the same environment, in the same business, or in the same kind of path that you are. My third tip would be is to lead with honesty. And this is something that, obviously, me understanding that there is some nerves of coming online and speaking, and especially to talk about yourself. Maybe that's completely different, and maybe that's a completely foreign concept to you, that I need to be here and just talk about myself. And I'm not saying that that's all you should do. What I'm saying is, when you have a chance to talk about yourself, always lead with honesty. I think what I love the most about our INFJ entrepreneurs community is that we all are leading with transparency. We can really just be raw and authentic, and where we want to go and what we want to achieve. We like to do this round every time we meet, where we're like, okay, so what's your goal for the next month? Because it's personal to everyone, but we love to share that, because it's like we want the other to succeed, and we want all of us to be, we want to cheer the other person on, right, in their own journey as they are navigating business ownership and entrepreneurship. So our community has become a transparent ground, and that's what I want for you to do as well. Like, whenever you are going to a networking event online, I always want you to just lead with honesty and able to express even how you feel. Like, if you go into a networking event and you are like saying, hey, I'm feeling very anxious right now, and this is completely something that I never do, and this is completely outside my comfort zone, but I came here to overcome this discomfort and, get to know and connect with you guys. Or if it's like, oh, I'm looking for a client, or I'm in a season where when I need more business, right? So I always appreciate when someone is leading with transparency, instead of like concealing parts of themselves and like acting like all is well, and then, oh, their business is amazing and like they don't need any help, or like they're fine. Like, I'd rather us be a smaller group, but then we all have a connection and like a build up trust with each other, because we know that we are in a safe community to share whatever that's going on for us. And I have the fourth and bonus tip, which is, if you are showing up in these environments, make sure that you are not stealing the thunder. Like, you're not monologuing, because sometimes that can be an internal thing where you don't feel like maybe you're nervous and you talk a lot, and having someone that can help and redirect the conversation and be, almost like leading the conversation with compassion, and then like gently helping the person to kind of wrap up their thoughts and then helping and facilitating that. But I think it's something that if you feel like you're the type of person who gets blobby when you're nervous, or you feel like you are shutting down and you just like you don't want to really speak, I think the middle ground is somewhere in between. And another bonus tip for you is to learn to express in a concise way what it is that you do. And the question, like, what do you do, is going to, it's like 10 out of 10 times is the question that people are going to ask you. They're going to ask you many, many times, what is it that you do? And I would say there are two extremes of this scenario. Either we are going down to the blobby route and you're over explaining what it is that you do to the point where the person who asked the question or the entire group is like already getting like disassociated and they're like zoning out because it's just such a long way and long-winded answer that you're giving to them. But also the other extreme, which I tend to fall into, is when people ask me, what do I do? I just like, I'm in marketing, right? So when I'm just saying I'm in marketing and I fail to give people sufficient information that so that they can, in their brains, they can connect with something that maybe they want to do or something that they want to perhaps pursue. But if you just say, well, I'm in marketing, or you over explain, I think both of those scenarios, they're unable to really connect with you, because if you're already explaining what you do, they are like zoning out and they're like losing interest. Or if you're too brief, they're unable to connect with you and unable to like kind of place you, or like, okay, so how what you do fits into someone that I know maybe, or to my project. So you are cutting yourself from the opportunity to really help people connect with you. So I would say the middle ground is for you to learn how to say what you do, but in a concise and like everyday understandable way, so that the everyday person can really understand what it is that you do. So that would be my final tip for you guys. I would also like to invite you guys, if you are a member and if you've never been before, or if you are someone who is watching this video for the first time and you haven't joined us, I would love to have you in our community. If you're an INFJ and if you're in business, or if you want to start your business soon, then come to our community and come hang out with us. We'd love to get to know you. And I know that it's scary, and I know that it's absolutely destabilizing and absolutely uncomfortable to be coming to like communities like that you've never been before. But I feel like we have such cool people, especially like everyone is an INFJ, but we have such cool people and community where like everyone is so nice and super friendly as well. Like, we get you. So I would love to have you in those INFJ virtual hangouts. They are completely free and they happen only once a month. So I'm always asking people to fill out the questionnaire, and also want to get to know you and what your goals are. So make sure you fill out the questionnaire before you join in. I'm actually only approving members who take the time to fill out those questions. So link in the description. I would love to see you, and I hope this video was helpful, or if you listened on the podcast, I hope this was helpful. Either way, I'll see you guys very soon, and don't forget, drive over fear, progress over perfection. Bye guys.